described this quite appropriately as a massive intergenerational shift of wealth, transfer of wealth, mandated by the government. Those younger workers, some people, sorry, I just used the word worker again.
It's okay.
I'm going to get in trouble now.
It's not, I'm not worried about you.
Those younger people are at the tip of the spear on this. And some people call them the millennial generation. They're already tilting more conservative in most areas anyway, particularly on economic matters. They're more conservative. They have small L libertarian leanings, and they want the government to just stay the heck out of their lives. And they certainly don't want a government that keeps a database keeping track of not only every phone call they make, but also every doctor visit they've had. And so that's why the stretch, as we call it in my office, our ability to get people who historically have not thought of themselves as conservatives, or maybe still don't, but historically might not have been someone that you could expect that we could get to join us in an anti-Obamacare fight, are now not only fair game, but they're ripe for the picking, and we can get them. And that's why we need good, strong activists like those that we can find at FreedomWorks who can help us communicate this message, because we can win this, and we can emerge as a country stronger. I'm convinced that the Republican Party can emerge stronger from all of this if we will start being conservatives. Look, the reason we have lost elections in the past has everything to do with the fact that when faced with overwhelming similarities in any marketplace, consumers will predictably see differences among overwhelming similarities as indications of superior quality. And the opposite is also true. When you start talking just like the other party, and you start acting, and you start voting just like the other party, especially on those most important issues where it really matters, like this one, you dilute your own message, and you send the message to voters that it really doesn't matter that much who you vote for. You can vote for me or the other guy, and the other guy is usually going to be wildly praised by the mainstream media just because he has a D after his name. And so that's where we lose elections. Where we win elections is where we offer a different message. We won a whole lot of elections in 1994 because we set out the contract for America and the contract with America, and then we have the contract from America. I'm getting my prepositions on. And that offered something different from what was being offered by government in Washington at the time. And we won. We won all over the place. And we held on to that majority for quite a while. And we got a few good things done. We lost that majority 12 years later because voters finally realized after 12 years that Republicans had gotten too comfortable, they'd gotten too cozy with the Washington establishment, and they'd started acting just like Democrats. So there again, they went back to what was familiar and what was praised by the mainstream media. And so if we want to win elections again, we've got to start doing things right. We did that a lot in 2010. There was a huge tidal wave created by Obamacare plopping into the ocean. And that tidal wave brought in, what, about 90 Republican House members, giving Republicans the majority in the House. And it brought in a number of, pretty marginal senators, referring only to myself there, of course. And we were all elected with a mandate to stop Obamacare. That was our mandate, that was our purpose. That's the only reason, I believe, why we hold the majority in the House today, and why we have even as strong of a position as we do in the Senate today, even though we wish it were stronger. That's why. We were sent there to stop Obamacare. And unless we do everything we possibly can to stop it, we have no claim to being here. We have no right to be here. We have no excuse with the American people who sent us here to do this very thing. So let's get that done. Yeah.
Have you had any prior conversations with Senator Coburn regarding his commentary that was just recently reported? And if it's dumb to do what you're doing, is it also dumb to fund a train wreck?
I have not spoken to Tom Coburn about his comments to the Examiner since that story ran or since he did that interview. Is that your question?
Well, also prior, knowing his position. Did you know his position before that?
Yes.
You had a chance to coax him or prod him?
Yes.
And he's just a stalwart?
It didn't work. It was inadequate salesmanship on my part, I'm sure, but I'm going to keep working on it. Yes.
Sir, I represent a small engineering company. If you need, for anecdotal purposes, evidence of a company that is right now provides extraordinary health care at their cost for their employees, they're a small business. With the implementation of Obamacare, they're going to dramatically reduce the quality of that care.
And see, this is what I fear all over the place. The reason I believe in limited government, the reason I believe in constitutionally limited government, isn't just because this is the law of the land. It isn't because limited government is an end unto itself. The real end is to have a society where individuals prosper, where families thrive, where Americans can improve their condition socially, economically, intellectually, and otherwise. That's the reason why we believe in these things. That's the whole reason why the Founding Fathers got together and devoted all that time in the hot, sweltering summer of 1787. That's the reason why we fought the Revolution, for that matter. It's because we want that. We know that the best way that we can have that, and I wish I could come up with a better word for it other than that, is because we have to have two ingredients in order for that to exist. We have to have strong, robust institutions of civil society, meaning individuals, families, religious organizations, churches, synagogues, and so forth, as well as a whole variety of voluntary associations and business organizations who do the right thing because that's what human beings do when they're allowed to thrive and prosper. They like to do the right thing. They like to serve and help other people. They like to help their employees even though they don't have to, even though there's no law compelling them to do that. And we also have to have free markets in order for that to work. Without strong institutions of civil society and free markets, you can't have that. You'd never get to that, and you don't remain in that territory very long. Now, government can't create those things. It can't create free markets or institutions of civil society. No matter how hard it might try, no matter how hard the Bush administration struggled in order to find a way to do so, government can't create those things. But government does have the power to destroy them, and it inevitably destroys them because it causes them to atrophy once it steps in, fills that role, and tries to compel them to do it, because it always does it in a way that makes it harder to do the right thing, and then before long, people just don't do the right thing. They do only what they can get away with under the law. And so that's why we fight as hard as we do, is because of that. And that's why we've got to kill this law.
Give it up for Senator Lee.